Good morning, Who Dat Nation, and happy week 8 to our Bayou Blitz family. I hope everybody is doing well out there on this bright and early Sunday morning, crisp October morning, depending on where you're living in the country. But I hope everybody is doing well. I am Bob Rose. I am one of your co-hosts to your Bayou Blitz pregame show, week 8 pregame show. Joining me is my also allergy attacked partner, Brendan Boylan. Brendan, happy week 8 to you, my friend.
Yeah, happy week 8. Saints get some reinforcements. I know my nose needed some reinforcements this morning as well. I will stand on it and say that fall allergies are worse than spring allergies.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people will fight me on that one, but there's also a lot of people that don't experience fall allergies, so I guess I understand. But no, fall allergies are terrible.
Yes, they are.
And a lot of it, at least where I live, is the fact that we went from like 80 degrees yesterday, and today's high is like 59. And
Yep.
Your body's just like, I don't know what you want me to do with this.
Yep. Well, and then you factor in things like there's still a ton of outdoor activities going on. You have walking, trick or treat walking, pumpkin patch experiences. Youth soccer games, youth football games, all of those activities are outside. And, like you said, with the temperatures ranging from, some days you can still wear shorts and a t-shirt. Other days you're debating about wearing a heavy coat, or two layers of pants, when you're going out, depending on how long you got to be outside. So those are the kind of things that kill me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you said youth soccer. My family's had youth soccer, t-ball, pumpkin patch, trunk or treat. I saw you went as Deadpool trick-or-treating this weekend. So, yeah. Well, and also for you guys that have already gone trick-or-treating, hope you had a good time. If you haven't yet, hope you have a safe and enjoyable experience. But we'll see you before then. We'll see you on Wednesday. Let's talk about the Saints. They might have, like I mentioned, some reinforcements coming in this week with some guys getting healthy. I know that is a foreign word to you guys, so the website dictionary definition, I'm just kidding. But the Saints may be a little healthier than they've been in a long time this week, Bob. Yep. They're facing a Chargers team that I would say at this point is underachieved in the season. Now, a lot of your national pundits and your national media people, when you have a young quarterback who has star potential, and they see that him or his team has struggled for multiple years, the immediate reaction is, oh my God, we got to get Justin Herbert out of LA, right? Like that's just the natural immediate reaction by pundits. I like Justin Herbert a lot. There was a lot of speculation, 2 years ago now, when Sean Payton was looking to get back into coaching. I think you and I both were thinking, like, well, the Chargers are an obvious fit. Like, Herbert has a lot of the same characteristics and traits that Drew Brees did, living in LA. And at the time, the Chargers looked like a team that was on the up and up. It hasn't quite panned out that way for them, Bob, but they still have some strong points on this team. Obviously, Justin Herbert, the resurgence of J.K. Dobbins, which, if you're a college football fan, probably makes you happy because J.K. Dobbins was an absolute monster in college, and Gus Johnson had some A-plus quality calls of J.K. Dobbins breaking into the open field. So really happy to see J.K. Dobbins back. But even with those weapons, Bob, this is a team where you can't quite figure them out. So what's your analysis of the Los Angeles Chargers through the first 7 weeks of the season?
Well, listen, Brendan, you called them. You suggested that they were underachievers this year. I think they've been underachievers for the better part of 3.5 decades. And because of that, they went after a big name head coach and one that has a long background in disciplined football. And that is, of course, Jim Harbaugh, who they reeled in from the University of Michigan. I still can't decide whether this is a good fit between Harbaugh and the Chargers. Yeah, because Harbaugh is a guy that likes to play it close to the vest, win games and very physical, style with a very physical style of play. Ball control, establishing the run on offense, and like I said, very physical defense. The defense has played up to par so far. They're one of the top-ranked units in the National Football League, but it's the offensive fit that I openly question. Because, like you said, you have a very talented quarterback in Justin Herbert, and you're near the bottom of the league in pass attempts. Now, the school of thought here is, you don't want to subject your quarterback to a lot of hits. Establishing, balance, establishing the run, makes him a more effective quarterback. And while that's often true, you still have to use your best weapons. And I contend that, Justin Herbert has not been used to his maximum potential. He has 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he's averaging under 160 passing yards a game. That's absolutely mind-boggling when you have a talent like that. But the Chargers, even though they lost last week against Arizona, they come into this game at 3-3 and still in the thick of the AFC playoff chase, around midseason. And like I said, this is a good defensive team. They don't give up a lot of yards, and they can come at opposing backfields with a monstrous edge trio, and Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and Bud Dupree, and they're real thick, physical, and big up the middle too. So it's very difficult to get anything established on the inside, against this Chargers defense.
Well, and for the Saints, it is a blessing this week, especially with that talented edge rushing trio that you brought out. That this is the healthiest the team has looked in quite a long time. So for those of you who missed it, I'm going to give you Friday's injury report simply because, the Saints played 4 today. So we don't have the injury report on hand. We're not going to have it on hand. So thank you guys for tuning in with us a little bit early as, we've adjusted our schedules as well. So we'll go ahead and start with the guys that are doubtful and or out. That's Derek Carr, Nick Salveri, Cedric Wilson will be out, the receiver for the Saints. Other than that, not any designation, game status designations. That means Cesar Ruiz, who was a full practice participant Thursday and Friday, should be a go. Lucas Patrick, who was a full participant in practice on Friday, should be a go. Connor McGovern, reserve offensive lineman, full practice on Friday. He's going to be a go. So that's encouraging from that standpoint. And then before any of you jump at me, Alvin Kamara, who, told reporters this week when he signed his extension that he's been playing with a broken hand, limited in practice. He's going to likely be a go. And then everybody's favorite football player, your football player's favorite football player, Taysom Hill, full practice participant on Thursday and Friday. He should be a go as well. So it's not just some reinforcements, Bob. The gang is getting back together, it looks like, finally. So there should be some opportunities for the Saints to move the ball more effectively on offense, which I don't know if you can do a worse job than they have the last 6 quarters. So there's that. But when you are facing a Bosa, when you are facing a guy like Khalil Mack, who might not be putting up the numbers he did when he was with Vegas or even in Chicago, still one of the more talented pass rushers of the last decade. And then you have a guy like Bud Dupree, who is the guy that's always confused me. He's bounced around a little bit throughout his NFL career, but has been highly productive just about everywhere he's gone throughout his NFL career, the kid out of Kentucky. So you have that. You have a linebacker that I remember you and I both really liking through the draft process, and Denzel Perryman, who's still there with the Chargers, an undersized guy. We like undersized linebackers. I figured that out. But undersized guy, the kind of Mighty Mouse type of guy in the middle, he's over there. So the Saints offense should have some opportunities to not have Spencer Rattler get annihilated in the pocket today. He still might, but they have a little bit more of a fighting chance. And with that, guys, it's the most wonderful time of the year. So let's talk about underdog. Think about this. Will Alvin Kamara rack up higher than at least one rushing or receiving touchdown this week? Or will he get lower than his projected 52.5 rushing yards? It's up to you because you get to cook up some entries for a shot to win real cash prizes all football season long. Underdog is the best place to cash in on all your takes this football season. So I ask you, which players are going to go off? Which ones are going to be ice cold? Make your entries in just a few taps and turn your sports opinions into real money. Just a reminder to you guys too, because we were talking about injury designations. You have a couple different things here with Underdog, which includes injury protection. So if your guy gets hurt, you're going to receive some money back. That's a huge thing. It's also currently Booztober on Underdog, where there's a promo play nearly every single day. From now until October 27th, you can boost your profit on all NBA entries by 20%, but that's not the only promotions they're going to run here through Booztober. But you can combine something like Alvin Kamara to score a touchdown today with your favorite NBA player to go over his points projection. Yep, on Underdog, it's literally giving you unlimited profit boost to make on basketball entries. So let's combine some of our favorite sports. Remember, Underdog is the best place to play champions. So sign up and deposit now using promo code Bayou Blitz to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Bob and I, we're running it back again, right? We've hit one whopping time this year, Bob. Once. Let's try to make it twice. So look, guys, we're going to be making these selections. And hopefully you guys tail this one because I think it's going to be a fun one this week. Obviously, we're looking at Saints and Chargers as we are every week, every Saints. So this is a cool one. So Underdog had a promo this week with Booztober where you get to essentially zero out someone's projection. So this is what Bob and I have went with for the week. It's 3 picks. J.K. Dobbins, who I just mentioned, resurgence of a season for him. We're going to have him go higher than 76.5 rushing yards against the Saints defense that has not been able to stop a gust of wind so far this year on the ground. But we're going to zero out that projection. So that's automatically going to hit for us in our pick'em entry. Then we're going to go with Spencer Rattler for higher than 18 completions. You guys might be saying, well, Brendan, you just said he might get annihilated in the pocket. Yes, but remember, you could probably count on, and I got to do math, so bear with me, but you could count on maybe a third of those, so 6 completions, may just be dump downs to Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, or even Taysom Hill out of the backfield, just to get Spencer Rattler comfortable. We saw, especially early in his first start for the Saints, a lot of quick receiver screens, so you can count on some of those give me receptions throughout the ball game. So you're really only hoping he has 10 to 12, maybe 14, like down the field type of completions. So I like that one for Spencer Rattler. And then finally, I think this line is low. I know he hasn't performed well the last few weeks because the Saints offense hasn't performed well the last few weeks. But we're going to take Alvin Kamara higher than 52.5 rushing yards. I really think Alvin gets back on track this week. And having both Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller healthy to be kind of a change of pace guy and not having Alvin Kamara run up the middle through the A-gap multiple times on multiple drives, I think you get to kind of save him up, and he's going to be able to burst through a hole or that one cutback, hit the accelerators, and help the Saints in the run game today. So, guys, remember to download the app today. Use code Bayou Blitz to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Again, download the app. Use promo code Bayou Blitz. Remember, every player, every rushing yard, just select higher or lower on Underdog. You must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama or Nebraska, and also in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Massachusetts and Arizona. Got to be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. If you're in Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. And finally, if you're in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPENY or text HOPE-NY. Bob, I just talked about Alvin Kamara, talked about Spencer Rattler. What are you expecting out of these guys today, particularly Spencer Rattler, who's going to have the healthiest offensive line he's had in his NFL career and the most receiving weapons he's had so far in his NFL career?
Yeah, because when you were when you were going down the list of players that should be back in the lineup for the Saints today, you missed Chris Olave, who also cleared concussion protocol and was back at practice on a full basis, on Friday. That's key, because you know you're going to be without Rashid Shaheed for the rest of the season. And I know they signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Bub Means, Mason Tipton have both had their moments. But make no mistake, this passing game needs to go through Chris Olave. You need to establish Chris Olave. That doesn't mean that you're just going to drop back and wing it all over the yard, because I think that spells disaster for young Spencer Rattler and still a very questionable offensive line. But what I expect to see out of Rattler specifically is Clint Kubiak to move him around, get him some moving pockets, some play action rollouts, some quick throws. You mentioned wide receiver screens. I think that they'll attack the Chargers on levels, and some quick slants also. Because LA doesn't play a lot of press man coverage. Now, that may change today if they adopt the same strategy that Denver and Tampa Bay had, heavy blitzing, challenging those receivers at the line of scrimmage. If that happens, then Ruiz, Patrick, McGovern, all those guys being back in the lineup on the inside, they're going to have to hold their blocks, for an extra half second to give Spencer a fighting chance. I say hopefully only a half second, because Olave, Tipton, Valdes-Scantling, whatever snaps he gets, and of course Bub Means, Juwan Johnson, they're going to have to beat coverage quickly if they're challenged at the line. You're going to have to get a quick release off the line of scrimmage to give Spencer Rattler a target to throw to. I know it's easy to sit here and say, you combat a heavy pass rush or a blitz with hot reads and screens. Yeah, you do. But you have to show that coverage that you can beat them off the line of scrimmage first. Otherwise, everybody knows that you're going to try to screen. Just look at the Denver game a couple weeks back. It feels like a couple weeks back, week and a half ago. I don't think the Saints ran a successful screen all night, because Denver knew it was coming. And, they were just on top of Spencer Rattler so quickly, and B, their second level of coverage was able to say, okay, we know our pressure is going to get there. All we have to do is not give him that first read, not give Spencer Rattler that first read. Well, they took that away, and you saw what happened to the entire Saints offense. So establishing the run is obviously going to be important. In fact, it's going to be critical. But I think at the very least that we're going to see some play action rollouts and some bootlegs out of the pocket from Rattler early on, because he has shown that he can throw pretty well on the run. And those were the most effective plays that this offense has had in the last 2.5 weeks, when they were able to do that in the first half of the game against Tampa Bay, when that game was still competitive.
I think the biggest thing for Spencer Rattler is getting him comfortable. And in that first start, specifically against Tampa, and that first completion for him, where it was a half rollout to the near sideline, he hits Juwan Johnson for like 15 yards. I remember he spoke about that after the game, and just how moving him around the pocket and giving him easy targets got him kind of settled, maybe calmed his nerves, early in his first NFL start. So why not go back to that? Obviously, you have the last few weeks have been hard with injury, but this week you do have a full arsenal. You get to play with Taysom Hill a little bit, and I think that's also going to help Spencer Rattler, having a guy that you can move around and you can trust to do a couple different things. They say the running game is your quarterback's best friend. I think that's obviously going to be true today, but I also think Taysom Hill could easily be his best friend, and a guy who just always seems to make the football play that you need in a game. I want to talk briefly about the Chargers offense. We talked about how they like to run the football. Talked about how you have such a talented quarterback in Justin Herbert, who's not averaging a whole lot of yards this year. He doesn't have a whole lot of receivers, at least big name receivers, right? This is not the Chargers of the past that had guys like Keenan Allen, that had a really good receiver, in my opinion, and Mike Williams, who's on the trade block now, who's over with the New York Jets. Quentin Johnson is probably the one name that a lot of people point to, just being the younger guy of the group for the Chargers, but this is not – it's not like they did Herbert any favors and went and got a big name guy, right? For the Saints, no Paulson Debo the rest of the year, quick recovery that wishes to him. It does mean that Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to get some more looks. So I want to highlight him before we give some game thoughts, final game thoughts, and predicting our winners. When you're looking at a guy like Kool-Aid McKinstry and a guy like Alontae Taylor, who has really solidified himself as like your slot corner and allowing him to do his thing in the nickel package. What is that going to look like for Kool-Aid? And does he have a little bit of an advantage playing against a team that doesn't really have like a superstar one?
Well, and you mentioned Quentin Johnston, excuse me. He's actually a game time decision coming in. Lad McConkey has been their most productive receiver, the rookie out of Georgia. And he'll play, but he's been nursing a hip injury. DJ Chark, a lot of people thought was going to come off injured reserve and play against New Orleans. That is not the case. Chark will be inactive today. So that leaves Joshua Palmer, a big, speedy, deep threat. As the primary receivers, McConkey, Palmer, and Johnston, if he plays, for Justin Herbert. And you mentioned Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry. The Saints head coach said this week that you notice how I did that. The Saints
I
head
wasn't
coach,
saying anything, but you did. So.
Excuse me. Saints head coach said this week when asked, how you were going to replace Paulson Adebo. A lot of people wondered, is Kool-Aid McKinstry? We knew Kool-Aid is going to get more playing time. There's zero doubt about that. Interestingly though, he did say that Alontae Taylor was going to get the start at outside corner opposite Lattimore. Now, that's still going to leave a lot of snaps for Kool-Aid McKinstry. Are they going to leave him in the slot, though, when he comes into the game? Or when Kool-Aid checks in, for whatever defensive alignments or packages that they're throwing out on the field, when Kool-Aid is in the game, is he going to be the outside corner, shifting Alontae back to the slot? The reason that I find that, I'm interested to see how that plays out is anybody opposite Marshawn Lattimore, who is one of the only Saints defenders that is playing outstanding football, and he has been. The other corners are getting a lot of targets because Lattimore is just simply taking away his option. So who's going to get targeted more? Is it going to be Kool-Aid? Is it going to be Alontae? Is it going to be dependent on which of those guys cover a Quentin Johnson or a Lad McConkey or a Joshua Palmer? It's going to be a very interesting chess match to see how that plays out, because we know one of the Saints' biggest weaknesses, under the Dennis Allen era, and I'm talking as defensive coordinator as well, is making in-game adjustments. They've simply been incapable. So if Herbert and this Chargers offense are successful in targeting, say Kool-Aid when he's in the slot, or Alontae when he's outside, or any combination of that, what kind of adjustments are the Saints going to make to combat that and hopefully limit it? Are they going to make any adjustments? That's going to be one of the bigger chess matches of the day for me.
Want to shout out some of the people here in the chat. John Butler joining us over from X Twitter. Good to see you, John Libby, over on YouTube. Good to see you as well. Fear on YouTube. Stephanie on Facebook. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. It's always fun to see a ton of different interaction from different places too. That's the beauty of what we're able to do here, streaming our pregame show on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, They play every day of the week now.
The Bayou Blitz owns any day of the week. We go on when we want, however often we want.
That's true. But player safety, Bob, so important.
Yes.
Player safety is so important, but we play literally every day of the week. And the Saints firsthand saw how much the NFL cares about player safety with the inactive reports the last 2 weeks. With that, Bob, let's talk about whether or not the Saints are going to get back on track this week. I don't know at this point what's a must win and what's not. I think you could probably get a room of about 50 analysts, and you're going to get maybe 50 different answers on where people think the Saints are right now. And is there a legit possibility on this team getting healthy, coming back, and making a push at it? That's really up for debate. So between you and me, and we might change this, but the agreement for now is must win is not going to be in the conversation for a couple weeks, because I don't know if you can really define that with where the Saints are this year.
Yeah, listen, you're on a 5-game losing streak, and you already need outside help just to get back into the race. You might not call it a must win, but let's rephrase it and call just get a damn win.
That's a t-shirt right there. Just get a damn win. Bob knows. All right, Bob. How do you see this one playing out ultimately? In LA, rookie quarterback makes his third NFL start.
Mm-hmm.
Have some healthy options, but you are facing a very talented defense in the Chargers, and an offense that runs the ball well, which is something that your defense has not been able to stop very much this season. So how do you see it going?
First of all, I do look for a more comfortable Spencer Rattler because, and I wrote about this week, everybody knows, obviously, that Rattler was working with literally a skeleton crew, and that's even that's stretching it, because so many contributors and starters were on the sidelines in street clothes. Not only are they back, but remember, Spencer Rattler only had 4 days of preparation before his first NFL start. And it hadn't even been the number 2 quarterback for those first 5 weeks. It had been the emergency, which means you get very little, if any, rep in training and practice. You come away from that first start, and you have you play a game 4 days later, which essentially means you only have 2 days of preparation. Now you haven't played since Thursday. You have a chance to actually get your quarterback comfortable with the game plan, comfortable with more reps. You get more assistance, not only at your skill positions, but even more importantly, debatably more importantly, along the offensive line. So I actually do look for a better performance from the Saints offense and Spencer Rattler specifically today. But as we said, you're going up against a very physical defense. So you're going to have to match that physicality. I look for the Saints to try to establish not just establish the run, like we said, but you got to get back to running on the edge where you were running so well over those first 2 or 3 weeks. Fuaga coming off a down outing, probably his worst of the season, against Denver. He's been otherwise solid. Trevor Penning is developing into a monster of a run blocker. We mentioned Khalil Mack, Bosa, Bud Dupree. Those guys are great pass rushers. They're not so great against the run. So if I'm designing the game plan, when I run the ball, I'm running right at them. And I'm forcing them to stop me, and I'm concentrating on my back end blocks to cut down on that athletic pursuit and to open up cutback lanes for Taysom Hill, for Kendre Miller, and especially Alvin Kamara. We already mentioned the rollouts, and the quick throws from Rattler. Don't be surprised to see some screens, to Olave or Bub Means. Who's played reasonably well on those type of routes. Because the Chargers, even though they're stout in the front seven, their cornerbacks have only broken up 8 passes collectively this year and are giving up a 67% completion rate clip. So that tells me you're probably giving me some throws. So if you're going to give me throws, Spencer Rattler, you take them. And if you take those plays that are available to you, and you run the ball reasonably well, and I'm talking 4 to 5 yards a pop, and you stay out of the penalty category where you're getting behind, in down and distance situations. I think you're going to be able to move the ball against the Chargers. I really do. Defensively, we get Pete Werner back this week. And I wrote about that, published that piece about an hour or so ago. When Werner isn't one of the stars of this defense. We grant you that. But you and I have always highlighted, especially as a run defender, how important Pete Werner is. He's a solid player. He's rarely out of position against the run, and he's extremely physical. A sound tackler. Well, all of those things have been missing from the Saints defense in the last 3 weeks. We know where the Saints rank in run defense for the year. Without Werner in the lineup, their opponents are averaging 217 yards on the ground and over 6 yards a carry. Will Pete Werner make up for that all by himself? No, but it would be good to have him back. And even against the pass, if you have Pete Werner, who's a liability in man coverage, I will grant that, but he's at least solid in zones. You have a Pete Werner dropping into a zone where he's at least going to be solid in his containment area. Then you can use Demario Davis as a blitzer, where we know how good Demario is in that capacity. You've gotten zero pass rush from your edge or your tackles in the last couple of weeks. Maybe using Demario, maybe using Kool-Aid or Alontae Taylor. We know how good he's been as a blitzer. Can force Justin Herbert into mistakes. Herbert doesn't make a lot of them, but I have noticed throughout Justin's career when he does, he seems to make them in clusters. Interceptions, fumbles, just bad throws in particular. You need to do that so that way Justin doesn't sit back in the pocket and have a chance to find his ideal matchup, whether it be against Alontae Taylor, whether it be against the safety, one of the safeties, or whether it be against Kool-Aid McKinstry. And for God's sake, tackle and stop the run. This team, this defense, they don't have a prayer if Jim Harbaugh is able to establish J.K. Dobbins on the ground. And that's obviously what the Chargers are going to look to do early and often, because why not? Like you said, everybody else has. I believe your phrase was you haven't been able to stop a stiff breeze this year. Defense was one area of the Saints that we didn't think that we had to worry about, coming into this year. And for the last 4 or 5 games, it has been the worst, bar none, the worst defense in the league. Injuries were an excuse and a good reason, a valid reason for your struggles on offense. They weren't on defense. And now you're going to be without Paulson and Debo. I grant you're getting Pete Werner back, but other than that, most of your stars have been healthy all year long. Guys, you've got to play up to your potential. You got to play up to your ability. You might not be the elite unit that we thought that you were, but you're on paper. We haven't used that one in a while. On paper, you're still a unit from front to back that should be good enough to win football games. Get back to that. Offensively, again, I don't expect the Saints to put a lot of points on the board. I do expect better movement and better control of the football, though. You do that, you build a little bit of confidence for Spencer Rattler. And I expect this to ultimately be a close game, but I can't wait to see Spencer Rattler in a close game in the fourth quarter.
Be nice to see that. Really show where he's at in his progression as an NFL quarterback, but also when you get guys in that situation, you're going off instincts, and I think one of the things that makes Spencer Rattler I don't want to say enjoyable watch, but I guess an enjoyable watch and an intriguing prospect is what he's able to do when he improvises.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, Bob, just predictions for the game in general. I think for me, health is a big thing. They're finally healthy, but I can't pick the Saints when I've seen the last 2 weeks, and I haven't seen any positive movement. Now, some of that is injury, and some of that's just the team not playing particularly well. So with that, I do think the Saints are competitive. But you have two really struggling offenses. And you wish you had if you're the Saints, you wish you were facing a struggling offense like this that could not run the ball. Like you wish it was flip-flopped. So with that, I'm going to take the Chargers winning this game 24-17 over the Saints.
I'm looking at it in a very similar way. I don't believe the Chargers are a good football team at all, but they come into this game 3-3. Dennis Allen Saints are 4-17 against teams that are 500 or better when they play them. You mentioned the product that New Orleans has put out on the field the last couple of weeks. I just got done lambasting the defense, and I'm going to continue to do so. Because again, injuries have been a valid reason for the struggles of the offense. You can't. That's not the same reason. It's not the same excuse. For the defense, and that's the side of the ball that worries me more today. This unit has to make plays. I really do think the Saints offense is going to make enough plays to keep this game close, as you alluded to. I worry about this team's defense, and the product as a whole. The New Orleans Saints are one of the worst football teams in the NFL right now. That shouldn't be the case, but it is. Everybody wants to blame one or two people. You want to blame Dennis Allen. You want to blame Mickey Loomis. You want to blame Derek Carr. Blame everybody, guys, because this is a team effort in futility right now. I think the Saints can win this game, but I'm with you. I don't think they will. I do think that we get a good, hard-fought game in the fourth quarter. But I'm going to go with the Chargers 26-20.
All right, guys, there you have it. Bob and I will be back recording a post-game show to be available for you guys on your Monday morning ride. Real quick, Bob, where can people follow you in your work as they get ready for kickoff at 4?
And given that it is a later kickoff, I am going to do my best, to put out another article, on our Saints News Network. So make sure to follow all of us over there. I know John Hendricks churns them out like a machine on game day. He's put out a couple already. I put out one. Follow the Saints News Network and SI.com for that. Those works. John, myself, Kyle Mosley. You can follow me personally, Bob Rose, on Facebook at Bobby R 2613 over on the Twitter, the X Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And as far as Facebook groups, if you're looking for one, stop looking. Go follow the Bayou Blitz Facebook group. Go follow the Bayou Blitz Twitter page, because we are churning out more and more exclusive content. To at least getting to the point where we're going to do our live shows to only members that are following that of the Bayou Blitz Twitter page, Bayou Blitz Facebook group. And, if you followed us for the last couple of weeks, you already know, and you already also know how proud we are to be one of the, to be part of the promotion for the 11th annual Go Black and Gold Celebrity Fan Cruise. If you tuned into our show on Wednesday night, you know that we had Tyrone, Saints Hall of Famer Tyrone Hughes joining us. A couple weeks ago, we had Delvin Breaux joining us. Delvin, Tyrone are just among a handful of former Saints greats that include Michael Lewis, Courtney Roby, who's joining us this Wednesday, Lance Moore, and a couple more that we're going to reveal this coming Wednesday. They are members, of this event. And it benefits the American Cancer Society. It comes along with it includes obviously a fan cruise and an ultimate fan experience. The cruise, you can book it through Seven Seas Travel Agency, or the Go Black and Gold Celebrity Charity Fan Cruise Facebook page, where you can contact Shireen DeWalt for ticket information, or promotional information. The cruise itself is going to be from March 27th through the 31st, leaving from New Orleans and returning to the port of New Orleans. And as I said, Brendan and I are just so proud, so honored and just so joyous to be part of this coverage.
Yes, we are. Super excited to continue to promote, and also super excited to have some of these guys on to share their experiences, not just on the cruise, but their career as well. So super excited to have Courtney Roby this Wednesday. Like I said, Bob and I will have a post-game show for you guys. You guys will be able to access it first thing Monday morning. You can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at BT Boylan. Until then, I hope you guys enjoy your Sunday. I hope the allergies don't get you down. And hopefully the Saints come out with a win for the first time in what feels like forever. But until then, hope you guys find some peace, spread love, practice positivity, and we'll see you for the post-game wrap-up here in a few hours. Who dat?
Who dat?